Roger Stone, as in Get Me, Roger Stone. And yes, you're at the War Room with your hosts, Roger Stone and Owen Schroyer. Owen, you're doing a great job today exposing the globalists. There's no question that the forces of freedom are on the move, and the globalist, atheistic, godless scum are on the run. I've never felt better about America because the entire mainstream media globalist assault on our president is falling apart before our very eyes. What did we learn today but that attorney Lisa Bloom, the daughter of Gloria Allred, was out soliciting funds to pay the various women who are bearing false witness against our president. Now, I've known Donald Trump for almost 40 years, and I looked at the women in that press conference the other day, and in all honesty, let's just say they didn't look like Donald Trump's type. During the time that he was single, he dated a bevy of gorgeous supermodels, actresses, and other incredibly cultured, beautiful, divine women. The women in that lineup who looked coached and forced, certainly not his type. But now we know that Bloom was out trying to raise money from Hillary-connected super PACs and other heavyweight Democrat donors to pay these women. One woman was even offered $750,000. That's almost $1 million. That's a lot of money. But she wouldn't step forward and lie about candidate Trump, now President Trump. Oh, and it's obvious to me that the entire assault on the president, predicted right here on InfoWars by Alex Jones on the very day that the Weinstein scandal hit the fan, is falling apart before our very eyes.
Yeah, and, you know, we kind of already got wind of these developments with the dirty Democrat tactics of looking for people to come forward against Roy Moore and Trump, offering them payments. I mean, that kind of stuff, we know that the Democrats have done that forever. But the new angle to me, Roger, the new ripple here to me, that for whatever reason they still can't understand, Trump is not going to let this go. So he might be playing possum or being patient or whatever, but I was saying this before. Lisa Bloom, keep pressing, baby. Go ahead, just keep pressing. Gloria Allred, keep bringing phony evidence up. Keep bringing up falsified signatures. Please, I would just keep pressing, you two, because you know what's going to happen, Roger? One of these days, when Trump has a little bit of free time from saving this country, he's going to say, you know what? I'm ready to go after those people that made that fake Trump dossier. You know what? I'm ready to go after those lawyers that were trying to pay people off to make false accusations about me. And I hope that Allred and Bloom are so stupid that they continue to press against the president, because they're going to end up sharing a cell.
Well, Owen, from your mouth to God's ear, as they say. In the meantime, a massive victory today for President Donald Trump. The badly needed tax cuts that will refuel the greatest boom this economy has ever seen finally passed the Senate. Thanks to John McCain, we came this close to failure. McCain's top aide, Mark Salter, a truly evil Democrat who we'll talk about in the next segment, had talked the senator into voting against, there he is, Mark Salter had talked the president into voting, the senator into voting against the Trump tax cut. What did I learn yesterday? Mark Salter is among those who have filed an amicus brief in the Obama suit against me and President Trump. So now I not only have the front line of the Obama NSA, but I've got John McCain's top staffers intervening in that phony, bogus lawsuit.
Keep pressing, guys. I'm telling you, the swamp rats are going to find their day. The vampires are going to see the sun. Oh, man, I'm telling you, it's coming.
Welcome back. I'm Roger Stone with breaking news from a New York courtroom. Some of you may know that a sore loser, a crackpot named Warren Redlick, was suing me and two other patriots, Carl Palladino, the chairman of the Trump campaign in New York, and Michael Caputo, a longtime associate of mine who was an official of the Trump campaign, accusing us of defamation. The charges against Palladino and Caputo were dismissed earlier today, and only minutes ago the jury came back with a verdict of no cause, dismissing the action. Complete victory and exoneration for yours truly. Activists all over Florida are very excited when Joy Villa, the singer who openly and proudly wore a Make America Great dress to the Grammys, announced that she is exploring an effort, or I should say a candidacy, to run for Congress here in Florida. Let's go to the tape.
Good morning.
Morning.
My big announcement is that I am officially launching my exploratory committee into a congressional run for the state of Florida. I'm looking from everywhere to Jacksonville all the way down to Miami.
Well, congratulations. So you want to go to Washington? What's your platform? Obviously, having talked to you before, you're out to drain the swamp, right?
That's right. I mean, have you looked at Congress lately? In the news, we see that they are getting nothing done. They are a house of cards that is tumbling. I mean, health care reform, they couldn't get done. Immigration, they can't get done. They're not working with the president, which means we need to put new people in. We need to vote fresh blood in. And we need to really make America great again with people who are going to work for the aims of the president, not lobbyists, not Washington elitists.
There you have it, Joy Villa. Now, Joy, you'll remember, Owen, when her Make America Great song was demonetized and dropped from YouTube. She is an ardent pro-Trumper. She is a beautiful, articulate, educated, cultured woman who will be a fine member of Congress. She has roots in the Tampa, St. Pete area of Florida, and coming up soon will be a major announcement of her candidacy. I'm very, very excited about her candidacy. Now, since you are the man who discovered Omar Navarro, who's running a great race against the horrific Maxine Waters, we can now add Joy Villa to the Stone Scheuer victory list, because we're going to be highlighting candidates like Carla Spalding against Deborah Wasserman Schultz, Joy Villa in the race for Congress to yet be announced, Omar Navarro in California, young, hard-charging, articulate, pro-Trump, Make America Great conservatives, a whole new brand, and we at the War Room will be bringing you up to date throughout the entire year of 2018 on these exciting campaigns.
Yeah, a couple more that come to mind. Paul Nealon, who's going to be trying to replace Speaker Ryan. That's a big one. A couple of other guys that I'm trying to get on the air. One that I have, Austin Peterson, looking to drain the swamp of Claire McCaskill. Dr. Kenneth Wright in California is going to be running against Ted Lieu, another swamp creature that needs to be drained. Now, Dr. Kenneth Wright is a doctor in his own right, so he's kind of busy doing surgery and stuff like that, so he's kind of a tough guest to get on. But I am in contact with him, too. Roger, this is key to me, and it'll be interesting to see what happens, because 2018, the midterms are going to be huge, getting a Congress that's going to support Trump's agenda. What type of dirty tactics, though, do you expect the Democrats to, go with here, like we saw in the Alabama senatorial race? I mean, are they just going to continue to run dirty tricks after dirty campaign? I mean, can they even run on an issue at this point?
Yeah, I think they have no other alternatives. Look, Alabama was the worst possible combination. First of all, we had a very poor candidate. Sadly, through the Republican primary process, I think the president was misled at least twice about his activities there. And in all candor, Judge Roy Moore was far out of the mainstream. And then when these very serious charges were made against him, he disappeared. He wasn't on the front lines refuting them. He dropped from sight. I don't think you can do that. Now compare that with out-of-state voters, destroying voter tabulations before they can be recounted, and a dozen other dirty tricks. The Democrats pulled off a one-off victory in Alabama. That does not mean they're going to sweep the 2018 elections. They may think it does. Their allies in the mainstream media may say it does. But one special election does not an entire cycle make. So we're going to be compiling the InfoWars Stone Schroyer victory list here. We're going to be highlighting hard-charging, young, articulate conservatives who are committed to drain the swamp. We've already started with some great examples, and through the year, we'll bring you far more. You can help Joy Villa by going bringjoytocongress.com. That's bringjoytocongress.com. She's begun raising money for her exploratory effort, and I assure you, this is going to be one of the most exciting rock'em sock'em campaigns in the state of Florida, if not in the entire nation.
Seems like there are some patriots arising in the state of Florida, as Carla Spalding is going to be one of those names on our list. You've got Matt Gaetz already in there fighting for justice. And, you know, a real quick recap, I believe that the special elections, if you're going to take a record of Republican versus Democrat, I believe it's now 5-1. Republicans up 5-1 in the special elections. Karen Handel being one of those, who's on the House Judiciary Committee. Oh, another Republican on that committee instead of a Democrat. That was key. Roger, I suspect all kinds of dirty tricks. I've compounded the numbers. They don't add up. You've seen the video where the guy says we came from all different states for this election. So there was definitely some funny business there. I guess my worry is, can they pull something like that off on a national scale in 2018? I think that they're going to try if they have the opportunity.
Well, you know, you're right about one thing, Owen. They can't run on the issues. They can't run on the merits. Record stock market, unemployment at all-time lows, a huge boom in the housing market, and now with the president passing his tax reform legislation, and by the way, making a valiant attempt to strip out the carried interest exception for the hedge fund managers on Wall Street at the last minute, which unfortunately failed, but it shows you the president's heart was in the right place. We're going to supercharge this economy. It's going to be a boom even bigger than the boom we saw under Ronald Reagan, the president that Donald Trump reminds me the most of. So we're on our way. And any Democrat who wants to think that 2018 is in the bag because Roy Moore was a poor candidate who ran a poor campaign, and the Democrats infected Alabama with out-of-state voters, has got another thing coming. The election is not tomorrow. I'm happy about that. But by 2018, these tax cuts will have had some chance to get real traction in the economy. When I look at any financial or fiscal matter, particularly tax policy, I always look at Larry Kudlow at CNBC and WABC Radio as the avatar. To me, he is the single most knowledgeable person I know about growth economics. And his telling me that this tax cut is going to move and shake the earth is really telling. You're on The War Room with Roger Stone and Owen Schroyer. And if you haven't had a chance, go to the InfoWars store today, folks, to help fuel our expansion. If you're liking The War Room, if you like what we're doing here, help us out. Help us help you. Deep discounts for Christmas. Do all your Christmas shopping at the InfoWars store. I'm Roger Stone, here with my colleague Owen Schroyer, and you're at the right place. Yes, it's the War Room. It's a moment for celebration in the Stone household. Only moments ago, a Manhattan jury found a verdict of no cause in a harassment lawsuit that had been filed against me by perennial candidate and known crackpot Warren Redlick. Redlick has run for office as a Republican, Green Party candidate, and Libertarian Party, never scoring with the voters. There he is. That must be his high school graduation picture. The only man I've ever seen to show up at a deposition wearing cargo shorts and flip-flops. In any event, an enormous waste of the taxpayers' money and a complete vindication for yours truly. My apologies to the jurors that they had to be have their entire Christmas season and their work schedules interrupted by this waste of time. Oh, and it feels good, very good. Now I move to the lawsuit filed against me by the Protect Democracy Project, an Obama-blessed group of Obama alum. And stunningly, as I said earlier, the entire front line of the Obama NSA has intervened in this lawsuit. James Clapper, you remember him. He's the guy who said under oath to the Congress, "Oh no, we have no metadata collection system on American citizens," only to be proven a liar by the revelations of Edward Snowden. But was Clapper charged with perjury as they have charged that great American patriot Mike Flynn? No, of course not. And then there's John Brennan. He was the CIA director under Obama and Bush. Prior to that, he was the station head of the CIA in Saudi Arabia, where he converted to Islam, the most radical form of Islam. And then, of course, there's Mike Hayden, another member of the shaved head crowd. What's with these guys? And if you read their amicus brief, it's just a recitation of the same old tired lie. Oh, yes, they say, the Russians interceded and interfered in our election. What do they offer as proof? Zero, nothing, nada. It's the same old crap. And this is an old ploy. If you repeat a lie enough times, maybe stupid people will get it. So you have Clapper, a proven liar, Hayden, another proven liar, and a traitor like Brennan interceding in this lawsuit. The lawsuit was filed against Donald Trump and myself. Now, you would think under the rules of fairness, I would be able to depose them. I'd be able to ask them questions about their assertions. No, it doesn't work that way. So they can stick their nose into this lawsuit, make phony allegations, and try to prop up the deep state. Then I was really shocked when two of John McCain's top aides filed a similar amicus brief. The aforementioned Mark Salter, the man who almost single-handedly derailed the president's big tax reform victory today by talking the hapless and sadly dying John McCain into voting against it. At the last minute, McCain, to his credit, did the right thing. So I am being attacked by the two-party duopoly. There he is, Mark Salter. That's an official page from their amicus brief, which is as worthless as the one filed by the Obama clan, the NSA crowd under Barry Obama. This lawsuit has cost me so far in excess of $500,000. Yeah, it's huge money, but between the House Intelligence Committee, the Senate Intelligence Committee, where Senator Mark Warner has defamed me repeatedly, saying that I have worked for the Russians, I'm a Russian agent, completely false. You can help the Stone family by going to the StoneLegalDefenseFund.com. That's StoneLegalDefenseFund.com. I will never give up the fight. This lawsuit is intended to silence me, but I'm part of the InfoWars crew, folks. I will never be beaten down. I will never be silenced in the fight for freedom and liberty. Your support is deeply appreciated. And while you're at it, speaking of support, the Infowars.com store has some of the most incredible Christmas specials I've ever seen. Among my favorites, of course, is Brain Force Plus. Now, this is an extraordinary, all-natural formula, which for me gives me mental clarity and mental energy on these long days of fighting the deep state. If you want to be smart about it, get a case of this stuff and send it to the biggest libtard you know, because they need some clarity of thought. This is a great, great product. It has thousands of testimonials from satisfied customers. And as Alex Jones likes to say, it's a 360 win. You win, we win, the cause of freedom wins. You won't find better all-natural products anywhere. Sure, you can go to Walgreens or CVS and you can get products that claim they do the same thing. But Alex Jones has an exacting standard. Nothing goes on the site that isn't the best in its genre, whether it is the silver bullet, the very best silver colloidal formula out there, or whether it's survival shield to boost the immunity here in the cold system, or biome defense, which has the same effect. This is the best of the best. And when you order on the Infowars.com store, I recommend the auto ship function. That way you're never out. I signed up for auto ship and I got a new shipment of Brain Force Plus only yesterday. Things are so busy, I would have forgotten to go back to the site and reorder. And therefore, tonight's broadcast would not be nearly as entertaining or energetic. So help us help you. You see, we don't have big right-wing donors in the wings writing huge checks to InfoWars. The expansion that Alex Jones has mapped out for InfoWars is not inexpensive. He wants to hire new reporters. He wants to expand our bureaus. We're now open in New York. We're open in Miami. Soon, he hopes to open bureaus elsewhere. But we can't do it without your support. So help us, help you, help us, help America. Go to the Infowars.com store now for all your Christmas shopping. Owen, you want to take us to the next segment?
Sure will. I'll give us a couple news stories that dovetail with everything we've been talking about. You know, you were just talking about the double standards with Brennan and them lying, yet they want to come after you. They want to come after the Trump team. Long Island woman charged with trying to fund ISIS. Okay, well, that's fine. When are we going to go after McCain for that? When are we going to go after the Obama administration for that? They called them moderate rebels. No. We found out those moderate rebels were ISIS fighters. So if you're going to charge a Long Island woman rightfully, let's charge McCain and Obama too, or at least get an investigation going. We'll be right back.
The future under Donald Trump is so bright, I gotta wear shades. You may not remember that old ZZ Top song.
I might need to get some shades. The future's so bright too.
Yeah, we could do a Blues Brothers type thing right here. It'd be all right. So now one of my favorite guests, Colonel Mike McAllister, who served his country honorably, but now speaks as the spokesman for Citizens for Trump. And many say are urging Mike to pursue a candidacy here in the state of Florida. Colonel McAllister, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, Roger, it's always a pleasure to be on your show and to be a part of the great patriot audiences that you have.
Well, we're glad that we could nail you down for this. I know you are all over the country trying to recruit good men and women who will support President Donald Trump's reform agenda. I know you worked very hard in Alabama, and while I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, why don't you give us your assessment of what happened there?
Well, you know, obviously that was a race that is still in question. I think that, you know, they may be working on that recount. It was, 1.5%, but one of the big concerns was that many of the military votes are still outstanding and weren't counted. And what's most unfortunate about that is it could be argued that in many ways that would be disenfranchising the military veteran voters who generally are conservative. And we look at, you know, the polls throughout the race, you know, it looked quite well for Judge Moore. He's a good American patriot and conservative that served his country well. He was a West Point grad. He served in Vietnam. He was the Chief Justice of the Alabama Supreme Court. So the whole thing, I think, is still in question.
Well, sadly, I think Judge Moore, who was really not my cup of tea, I admit that I supported Dr. Randy Brinson in the first go-round, in the first primary, in which there were 4 candidates. But I certainly agreed that Moore was preferable to Doug Jones. But Moore, I think, made a strategic mistake of disappearing from the scene after these very serious charges of sexual misconduct were made against him. Riding around on his horse was not going to win him votes.
Well, and you make a great point, Roger. And as you know, I went up there and spent almost a week with Dr. Randy Brinson. And, you know, he was another candidate that was not of the political establishment. He was a self-made man, a physician, an Air Force veteran. So, and we had endorsed him, as you're aware. And when I had the opportunity to spend a lot of quality time with him and his family, there was no doubt he was an upstanding citizen, and his family was just, you know, all American, and they were all patriots. And that was a shame he didn't have a little more time to get established. But I don't think we've heard the last of Dr. Randy Brinson.
Well, in fact, Doug Jones has to run again in 3 years. And I think Dr. Brinson, Randy Brinson, a truly good man, has a great future in Alabama and American politics. I urge him to run again. You know, the sad part was every time he got a little traction, started to raise a little money, Mitch McConnell and the thugs from the National Republican Senatorial Committee would come down on his donors hard, cut off his money. But he was an original Trump supporter, a former chairman of the Alabama Conservative, Christian Coalition, a solid man, and a guy to keep an eye on in the future. I really appreciate the fact that Citizens for Trump backed him, and I think you'll back him again because he's going to do great things. Now, take us across the country, if you will. There you see the website for Citizens for Trump. Folks, if you go to the website, this is a fine group. It is not a group with a giant overhead, no consultants, no paid operatives. Every dollar you give here helps the movement for Donald Trump, and I commend it to you. And I know of the fine character of Colonel McAllister and Kathleen Kit Flaherty and many of the other good friends that I have there, Tim Salati Jr. This is a fine group of patriots, and they're not infected with the Washington virus. They are straight shooters. They know who was for Trump and who wasn't, and they know who will be with him in the crunch and who won't. So please, folks, go to the Citizens for Trump site and consider a generous donation right after you go to the InfoWars store and do your Christmas shopping. If you're in a generous mood, Citizens for Trump is a fine grassroots organization. Your money won't get sucked up in overhead and travel and entertainment. These folks are real fighters, and they know what they're doing. So, Colonel McAllister, tell us what you think the other bright spots are for Senate races across the country.
Well, right now we have one going on in Ohio, and as you know, Mike Gibbons up there is running. He's a Cleveland area businessman. He's never been a career politician, so he's not bought and paid for, and he's not establishment. He did help fundraise for Trump. He's a strong Trump supporter. He'll vote to build the wall, and we're looking at his opponent, Josh Mandel, has received donations from Mitch McConnell. So I think that's maybe bringing into question, which one would truly support the America First agenda of President Trump the best. And it certainly looks like to us that would be Mike Gibbons.
Oh, that's a race that we can now earmark to keep a close eye on. But Colonel Mike, I've got to ask you this. A lot of people in Florida are telling me that it's time for you to run. And I know many people urging you to look at the Commissioner of Agriculture race because of your family's background in the agricultural industry. Is there any chance we can talk you into this race?
Well, Roger, like I've said before, I'm always open to the way that I can best serve, the state of Florida and America. We are looking at options. We haven't made any final decisions on anything. I did, when I went to college, my major, it was in agriculture. My minor was in earth science. I do have a Florida nursery license and a small palm tree farm. So we certainly are looking at options, and that one would be on the plate. But, Florida has a lot of races next year. We have all 27 congressional races, and we'll have the entire governor cabinet. and of course, half of our state Senate races and virtually all the 120 state House races. So, we're looking at some way to best serve our state and our nation. But I do have the agricultural background, and so we certainly have an interest there because I'm already involved in that.
Well, look, I strongly commend you, and I hope you will run. I want to have you on the InfoWars Stone Schroyer victory list. And I can guarantee you this, if you run, you'll get your first check from Roger and Nydia Stone. So I hope you will consider it.
Well, thank you, Roger, and I really thank you for having me on your show again. And it is a great show, and you're doing a lot of good in promoting American patriotism and values. And your listeners are just fantastic. Your listeners and followers and watchers.
Well, many, many thanks, Colonel Mike McAllister, for joining us on the War Room today. Owen, I'm going to turn this over to you.
Well, we're trying to do everything we can to make Congress great again in the upcoming elections, the 116th Congress. We are trying to ID the people that will represent America First policies and will get behind the Trump agenda. And it's going to be key that we get out and mobilize the vote, folks. That is going to be key. Now, I've got my own theory on what happened in Alabama, but whatever happened, 500,000 Republicans did not show up to vote. You look at the numbers, that's a fact. 500,000 Republicans' votes weren't there. Did they show up? Did they not show up? Well, that's what we can't have. We need to show up. We need to get out to vote. And that's why we're identifying the candidates in the upcoming midterms that will help make America great again. Final segment with Roger Stone on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
You're on the War Room, and I'm your host, Roger Stone, with my co-pilot, Owen Schroyer. We're very proud of what we got going on here at the War Room. We hope you will tell your friends because this is part of the 10-hour-a-day expansion that Alex Jones has mapped out for InfoWars. You can go in the mornings to the Real News with David Knight for the start of your day, and he can lay out for you all those stories that the mainstream media just doesn't want you to see and won't cover. Then, of course, you have Alex Jones at noon Central and into the War Room with Owen Schroyer and Roger Stone later in the day. This is part of the exciting new expansion that we can only afford because you, our loyal viewers and listeners, support us through the InfoWars store. Now, for your Christmas shopping, I highly recommend the entire range of products, whether it is the First Amendment-oriented T-shirts or the terrific books like my book, The Making of the President, 2016, How Donald Trump Orchestrated a Revolution, or whether it is the iconic, indeed historic, Bill Clinton rape T-shirt, or first and foremost, the extraordinary all-natural supplements, whether it's apparel or gear or our supplement line, nothing gets on the InfoWars store site that isn't the very best of its type. You won't find any products here that don't measure up. Alex Jones works with a team of scientists and biochemists to come up with the best in every area. Now, I've told you again and again about my all-time favorite, Brain Force Plus, which to me gives you mental clarity and mental energy. And I'm very excited to try the new Alpha Power, designed to boost your performance and energy levels. So if you're one of these people who, like me, you get a little dip around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the Alpha Power, according to my wife, kind of evens out your energy flow, gives you stamina and real energy without a crash all day. I think this is a terrific product, and it includes zinc, essential for your immune system, niacin, the organic maca root concentrate, horny goatweed, also known as epimedium, used by Chinese herbalists for centuries for vitality and energy, and a number of other key all-natural ingredients. You will not find a better vital male androgen formula on the market. And now, instead of the usual $69.95, on special sale at $34.95. That's a $35 savings, folks. And this is a 4.7 star rated product, the very best of its genre. Give it a try. It's perfect as a stocking stuffer for the men in your family, and you'll be glad you did. Once again, when you go to the InfoWars store for these deep discounts, you help us with the planned expansion of InfoWars. If you like what we're doing here, if you like the way we punch back at the globalist scum, if you like the way Owen Schroyer kicks George Soros in the groin virtually every day, then go to the store now. Owen?
Well, Roger, I've got some developing news stories here. We got 6 minutes left if you want to go back and forth on these.
Shoot.
Well, I have been getting an eking feeling that within a month or by the year anniversary of Trump being inaugurated, we're going to see a big shift, a big pendulum swing in this Trump-Russia investigation. The evidence I have to this is what Trump said today, the fact that Peter Schiff, Eric Holder, Susan Rice, and the rest of them are clearly freaking out, the fact that the Russian collusion probe has been completely blown apart at the seams and, in fact, now been exposed as totally biased. But how about this? This might be the most recent vindication of my thoughts. This just broke from CNN, probably other sources as well, but you know CNN wants to run with the angle that this is somehow bad for Trump supporters and the investigation. I think the exact opposite. The headline is, Trump lawyers set for key meeting with special counsel next week. Now, Roger, I know that you have been very vocal about the legal advice that Trump has been getting that has wound up Trump in this situation with the biased counsel. But next week, the lawyers set to meet with the Mueller counsel. With everything that we have discovered of late about the bias investigation, Peter Strzok, the DOJ official Orr and his wife Nellie meeting and colluding with the Obama administration, Glenn Simpson of Fusion GPS, Christopher Steele communicating on ham radio. With all of that there, I don't see how this meeting goes down without that getting brought up. And with that getting brought up, I'm not sure how this special counsel continues.
Well, I wish I could say I agree with you, Owen. Unfortunately, I think the president's lawyers are fine lawyers. But this is not a legal proceeding. This is a political lynch mob. This is a coup d'etat based in politics. Today, Politico reported that freshman Congressman Matt Gaetz, while on Air Force One with the president on his way to Florida, told the president that the special counsel's office was infected with bias and the country is at risk of a coup d'etat because of this investigation. That is, as we like to say, the stone cold truth. Thank God for Congressman Matt Gaetz and Congressman Trey Gowdy and Congressman Jim Jordan and Congressman Ron DeSantis. These guys are fearless, they're well-grounded, and they are on the move in exposing the outrageous lynch mob mentality of the entire Mueller get Trump squad.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what comes of that meeting because, again, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. We already know about Peter Strzok and the DOJ and Obama and how this Trump-Russia collusion probe is nothing more than a witch hunt. It's proven now. That's not rhetoric. That's not conjecture. That's 100% fact. It's been proven. Another developing story here, Roger. Again, I don't know how Trump's lawyers aren't. I don't know how Trump's lawyers are not out right now making public statements. Not that that's been what they've been doing since Trump has been president. But this is so absurd. This is so obscene. This is so illegal. And I don't see how, if Lisa Bloom and Gloria Allred continue to push forward with these fake accusers, how they don't end up sharing a jail cell. But now you've got these stories, all these people, these Democrat dirty campaign tricks where they're trying to fund these people to bring up these false allegations. They get caught red-handed on the Roy Moore campaign. When do Trump's lawyers do something about this? When do we have Lisa Bloom and Gloria Allred and we sit them down and we say, hey, it's time to have an investigation into you. It's time to have a special counsel into you and your fake accusers. When do we get that?
Well, as you know, Owen, the president's lawyers continue to assure him that he will be getting a letter from Mueller clearing him entirely shortly. I doubt this very strongly. And therefore, when the letter is not forthcoming, I'm hoping the president will get himself some new, more combative lawyers. Now, let me just say that I think very, very highly of Jay Sekulow, who has really served not so much as an attorney as a spokesman for the attorneys trying to explain their actions. Knowing Jay and the fine lawyer that he is, I doubt this strategy is his. This is known as the Cobb strategy, which is give Mueller all your emails, all the files from the campaign, all your records, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of pages, which I wager the president's lawyers have never even read through because there's only 2 of them and they couldn't possibly have the time to do so. They are without staffs. They're without secretaries. One of them works out of the basement of the White House. Meanwhile, you've got Robert Mueller with a pack of hungry wolves all on the government payroll, which is why I said last week, if they take our president down in a coup d'etat, I will write the book as a sequel, The Unmaking of the President. But it is a book that I pray to God I don't have to publish. Thank you for joining us here on The War Room with your hosts Roger Stone and Owen Schroyer. And be sure to hit the Infowars.com site, folks, to give us your support. With your help, we will persevere. Victory or death. Many thanks.